the Nevis masquerade costume was developed over a long period of time by the slaves who came to Nevis during the 18th century from the Yoruba-speaking Oyo Empire of West Africa.
The masquerade dance represents the African god Shango mostly, and every part of the costume itself is linked to the Yoruba god Shango, who was the god of thunder. So the costume itself and the dance are both intended to attract the attention and the favor of this god. The red that you see throughout the costume was the Shango's favorite color, so that's very, very prominent throughout it. And the bells that are on the costume and the mirrors are all worn by Shango priests and priestesses back in Africa. So all of those elements are done to please the god and to attract his attention and favor.
I believe the Nevis masquerade is a direct interpretation of the Yoruba masquerade Egungun. It is believed that the Ara Arun is the collective spirit of ancestors who occupy space in heaven, and when they come to earth, the ancestral spirits reveal themselves in these beings known as Egungun.
The mirrors on the costume also represent the windows to the soul. So there's a lot of spiritual symbolism. And the headdress itself, it has got peacock feathers. Back in slavery times, peacocks were widely reared in Nevis, but because their feathers are tall and beautiful, peacocks themselves are very attractive. And so those feathers were used to adorn the headdress. They're tall because the aim is to get as close to heaven as possible in height. And it was a means of communicating with the gods in and of themselves. And then part of the masquerade costume is a thunder axe, which is carried by Shango as well, the god Shango. So it's all tying back into that Yoruba religion and symbolism that comes from that.
Both Egungun and Nevis masquerade wear layers of clothes in which they must perform in. They wear mirrors to symbolize the window to the soul. They drape pieces of fabric over their costume to resemble the pieces of cloth worn by Yoruba people during funeral rites. The cowrie shell and bells are used to accompany the music and represent the shells worn by Shango priests. Shango's thunderous energy became a symbol of the resistance of the Yoruba people during the 19th century when many Yoruba people were taken from Africa to the Caribbean and the Americas as slaves. The withstanding goal of Egungun and the Nevis Masquerade is to honor those who came before. The Nevis Masquerade and the Egungun uses movement vernacular to solidify and preserve the essence of the work. In order to preserve what was rightfully theirs, and basically all that they had left, the Yoruba-speaking slaves had to find a way to sustain their cultural traditions. The Nevis Masquerade and the Egungun uses movement vernacular to solidify and preserve the essence of the work. In order to preserve what was rightfully theirs and basically all they had left, the Yoruba-speaking slaves had to find a way to sustain their cultural traditions. Hence, the dances were passed down through oral history, and because of this, a portion of the rooted quality, substance, and structure of the works have been lost or refined over a period of time due to colonization.
One specific dance in the wild mass where the dancers do a limbo. It's a very powerful move where they shake themselves down to the ground, and the messaging behind that is like very, very powerful for the Caribbean context, which is that you can break us and shake us all the way down to the ground, but you can't, or you can beat us rather and shake us all the way down to the ground, but you can't break us. And that is just one of the strong messages that I think helped to prolong our people throughout that slavery period.
The Nevis Masquerade was established as a form of resistance, which is seen through the use of the pink face mask and the need to assure that traditions sacred to their ancestors were preserved. Today, the Nevis Masquerade has made its mark in Nevisian history and is a pillar for Nevis's cultural sustainability. While maintaining the heritage of the people and paying homage to ancestral beliefs, the Nevis Masquerade continues to develop the cultural beliefs, practices, and conversations that represent the future of the island.
Dancing in the street.